Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Driven by Christ Auto. I don't know what episode number it is, but we'll figure it out and I'll put it in the comments. Quite a few of them. But anyways, it is Saturday, so today is the day that we may get a customer order. We may just go ahead and pick it up for Monday morning because we are not open Sunday. But anyways, let's take a message from our Lord before we even start today, because today's the day that we normally go out to the drag track. We run our car. We did get a chance to run it quite a bit yesterday, but we got to run this car. That's the reason why we built it. But I'm gonna get 3 runs in, and then we're gonna start back on our Mitsubishi Project Eclipse. So, but anyways, let's get our message. Jesus, please train us to trust you one day at a time. This practice will keep us close to you, responsive to your will. We confess that trust does not come easily to us at all. We find it extremely challenging in the world today. But I know that you are absolutely trustworthy regardless of my feelings, or our feelings. We're so thankful for your spirit within us. You help us learn difficult lessons. We long to become increasingly sensitive to the Spirit's promptings and yield to your gentle touch. Lord, teach us to trust you in all circumstances without letting our desire to understand distract us from your loving presence. We want to get through this day victoriously by living in joyful dependence on you. Tomorrow is busy worrying about itself. Instead of getting tangled up in tomorrow's worry webs, we seek to trust you today, one moment at a time, because ultimately tomorrow may never come. In your strong, reliable, trusting name, Jesus. Amen. Alright, guys, so the references from this are going to come from Psalms chapter 84, verse 12, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19, Jeremiah chapter 7, or 17, verse 7, and Matthew chapter 6, verse 34. Alright, guys, so that's the message from our Lord today. And let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to jump into it. We're not going to drag. We're kind of psyched. Today's Saturday. It's the weekend. You know, we work for our Lord all week. We come out good. We're $422,000, and man, look at this, 7,600 scrap parts. That is great, guys. That is so great. We're getting really close to the 10,000 mark. So we're going to start spicing up some vehicles that we've already got. I've been working with our drag car. It's, stuck running 13.5s, in between a 13.5 and a 14-second run, depending on how much of a poo launch I got and, how bad I shift the gears. Uh, I'm ready to really start working on this project. Like, I have been waiting for this. I still don't like that thing with the wing going on back here. But anyways, we're gonna start investing some of these scrap pieces to make our cars faster. But I don't know. I kind of want to save them. And once we get cars that are very consistent, that are really fast, because we don't know what's ahead of us. We don't know what the next car will bring. We got a 363 horsepower car here that's completely factory, no modifications, and it has 363 horsepower. So if we start building this car, like, we can double this horsepower. It's going to be pretty fast, and I'm just ready to build it because I'm ready to start racing a different car at the track. And considering this one is an all-wheel drive car, this thing is going to be like just extremely fast. We could actually gear down our gears pretty low and be able to accelerate a lot quicker. We'll be able to play with our gear ratios a lot more, and not have to worry about getting real expensive tires because we're all-wheel drive. You're going to have to run them expensive slick tires in the back if you're wanting traction with a rear wheel vehicle, especially if you're over 1,000 horsepower. Because guys, we got a tall first gear in our drag car, and it breaks some drag tires loose like they're just regular street tires, but they are drag slicks with a 70 miles per hour first gear, and then the rest of them are short all the way up to I think it's like 220 is what I got the transmission to top out at. So, let's see. I think we went through all of our cases. We're going to go through, make sure we didn't miss. In fact, let's, instead of just going through them, let's just type in case. And see if we got anything. Alright, so no cases. We don't have any boxes of blessings, but we have got a ton of barnyard fines. Now, we just got up to $422,000. We got plenty of vehicles, that we could build. So, it's really in between running the drag car and making a little bit more profit for our Mitsubishi. You know what? Let's just go ahead and start working on Project Eclipse. That's what I want to do. O'Reilly's is open today. We don't mess with them on Sunday. We believe that at least one day out of the week is going to be a day of rest. And, since you can, for the shop, we either choose a Wednesday or a Sunday, because that's the day that you can attend church. Or, nowadays you got to worry about some of the churches that you go to. Some of them are not for the Lord. They are out to make a profit off of the Christian community, and I hate to say that, but they are. Some of them are out there. They do not lift a finger to help people, except for people that can make them more money in return. That's not what Jesus wanted his church for. That is not his bride. His bride helps other people's in need, and they're able to support the 10% motto for the church. And it's not a motto. It says give 10%. And I really think about it. 10% is not a whole lot of money, guys. I mean, if you got $1,000 check, you give 10%, that's $100. $100 to somebody is a lot of money like me, but that's not a whole lot. It ain't like he's the whole reason why you got a check, and he's asking, oh, you're going to give me half of it. No, he's not a greedy God. He is greedy for your attention. He is very jealous for your attention, but attention does not cost us any money at all. So, alright, I ain't gonna get fired up on all that. I know that some people are probably tired of probably even hearing about it, but hey, there's always other channels to go and check out. But for the ones that, want a positive Christian, non-cursing, none of this crazy stuff going on in the background, and, when we build cars, that's what I do. And I also teach you how to work on real cars too. So I'm giving you hints, that way you do not get played at an auto mechanic shop. Women, they attack y'all the most. So put that Salvation of Armor on and take in some of my information, and you'll be how quick you can find a shop trying to play games with you. But anyways, find a Christian shop. And make sure it's not a wolf in sheep's clothing Christmas shop. You can read between the lines. You understand what I'm saying. But we're not even looking at that phone today. So, we'll deal with our customer Monday. Jamie's in the office today, but she's, doing her weekly cleanup. She does that on Saturday. And, we'll just leave this car on rack too. Get it lifted up off of the ground, because I got to pull our new tires and wheels off of here. I was thinking about dropping to a little bit of a lower profile tire, but we'll just lower the transmission gear ratio and make it pull these big tires. It ain't like you can actually break anything in the game, so I wish they would add a damage system. So, if you put too big of tires on your car and they're not small enough, whenever you drop it into first gear, you can break drive axles. You can snap the casing on a transmission. I mean, there's all types of stuff that can go wrong. You gotta have some give somewhere, and that's the reason why I do like the dual mass flywheel and clutches, there is a little bit of give into that, but ultimately whenever you're trying to put the power down, it's going to deliver it, but it's going to give a little bit of give in that first momentum of rolling. So that way you don't break stuff. My Acura TL has a dual mass clutch and flywheel because that J series motor is notorious for snapping axles. So, but anyways, let's go ahead. We're going to start stripping down our suspension. And the last thing we're going to do is pull the engine out. We're just going to go ahead and get the car stripped today. You know, try to. I'm pretty good at pulling cars apart, so we will get through this as quickly as possible. Let's get the slower control on. Oh yeah, we got to get the vehicle up off the ground, so we can do it. We don't have to mess with the body too much. We got the paint taken care of. We just got to take care of some of these mechanics on here. These parts that need to be replaced. So pull this axle now. Then we would probably have to do that sway link, but you know, I guess those axles had a lot of bend. And then this whole thing would just come off all at one time once you undone the tie rod. So we'll do that, even though it's going to separate it in sections. That's cool. This whole thing would just fall down, and you could separate the wheel bearing on the table. You don't have to pull all this stuff off of here. Like, literally, this is floating in the air with nothing holding it. So, I guess I need to pull the car down in a reference to how this game works. That way we don't have parts floating in midair for no reason. So if you were going to break it down like the game was wanting you to do it, this is how you would do it. You pull this, pull your brakes. We can go ahead and lower the lower control arm. Get it broke loose, because it would hang here. Then you do the CV joint. Then you would go ahead and pull your bearings out, your hub out, your knuckle, knock this loose. No matter what, it always makes this go on there last. So, I mean, that's the only thing that you got to go around. You literally cannot remove this and the other stuff still be left into there. So it's still hanging one way or another. But, inner tie rod. Alright. Pull that. Undo our steering knuckle. Okay, so we're going to have to leave the subframe in here while the motor's in here. That way, you know, it supports the weight and it's not a whole bunch of weight on our motor mounts, which are not in the game. But eventually, you know, once the developers start seeing YouTube channels of actual mechanics doing this work, hey, they can build on what they got. I'm not asking for a new game. I'm asking you to build on what you got already. Add the stuff that is missing that makes this game like a realistic car mechanic game and not just the basics. So, you know, maybe you can add different levels, you know, beginner, intermediate, and expert, where you really got a torque sequences. If you over torque something, you break it, you got to buy a new one. I mean, there's so many things that could be added to this game to make it so much greater, but I still like the game as it is. Now, I know you'd be able to take this downpipe loose without... This is going to be one of them up and down vehicles. I can already see it. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and undo the exhaust manifold. And we are not going to actually pull this engine out of this car. We are going to do an in-frame. That way, for this game does not take our 363. I hope this block is in good condition. Lord, I hope that block is in good condition. Because if I got to pull it out of here, I don't know, guys. I'm really afraid to pull this engine out of here and it lose the special edition horsepower. I'm really afraid of that happening. So, I guess, you know, we'll do it for the sake of the game to find out if it's going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and pull the motor out of it with the engine hoist, and, you know, let's pray that we don't lose the 363 starting horsepower for this engine. So that's going to be great, guys. Alright, we got that out of the way. Was able to pull the intermediate shaft out right there. Probably really easy to get to. Like I said, it's only three to four bolts, and it slides right out of the transmission. Alright, so now we can undo our downpipe. And we're going to undo our drive axle. I didn't even see that the first time we had this car. I did not. I thought it was, like I said, I don't see that well. We're going to go ahead and pull our gearbox, but I didn't see that well, and I thought that pipe was part of the exhaust. I didn't even realize this was an all-wheel drive. So we do got an I4 4x, because you can see the output shaft gearbox right here. So there is on this Transact, or on your I guess your final drive and your output shaft gear, there is another gear housing that, as this spins, it turns another output shaft that goes to the back. So a little bit different of a transmission, but we're gonna try to rebuild it. Still one clutch, you know, one flywheel, all that great stuff. We'll go ahead and pull it down, because we are gonna put this is going to be a full race build. Even though it's not a turbo motor, we're going to use this special, you know, design of the engine that had 360 something horsepower stock, and we're going to build it. So I do not know what type of horsepower we're fixing to throw down to this thing, but a starting 363 horsepower is nothing to complain about. As I think this engine only had like 110 horsepower, so that's like already, you know, quadruple the amount of power. So, and you notice that all these performance parts are based off of the factory horsepower. They only give you percentages of your base horsepower. So pay attention, guys, whenever you're buying cars from the junkyard, look at the base horsepower, because the base horsepower is what's going to make or break your overall power in the end, unless you swap an engine. But even that engine swap has a base horsepower, and that's what's so great about these special edition cars, because the base horsepower, like say if you were to swap this engine into a car that had another engine, this exact engine right here, the original base horsepower is 110, but this one is 360. So for every upgrade, that's more power. So this is gonna be a fun car. This is gonna be a fun car here. But let's go ahead and drain the oil. Oh, well, that didn't look good. Pretty sure every bearing in the bottom of this motor is destroyed. Drop our our oil filter into here, and we'll let it be draining out. Let's go ahead and put this back up. Man, boy, that thing's fast, son. It moves faster than the speed of light. But alright, so we are ready to pull our engine now. Let's go ahead and get it back down. We'll snatch this engine out of there and get it on the motor stand. And I hope we are not making a mistake doing this, because if it takes the factory base horsepower away and it's not 363 no more, oh man, I'm gonna cry. But if it does, we'll just throw this engine in the storage shop, and we'll drop one of them BFM 4-cylinder motors in here, which I can only imagine what the BFM part stands for. But you know, we're not gonna translate that. It's a turbocharged K24 is what we're gonna say. But anyways, that's the only thing I found a little bit kind of shady in here. But you know, beggars can't be choosers. It's a lot better than shooting and killing people. So there you go. All right, let's get the engine over here, or out of here, I should say. All right. Alright, so we got the engine pulled out. We are going to roll this thing on over here and get it put on our engine stand, and we'll start the breakdown of the motor. after we get the rest of the car broken down, because I don't know if we actually did any welding to the frame or not. I'm going to check it and we'll find out. Let's get this engine put on here. Alright, so I got the engine on here. You know, everything's still intact. The only thing that's removed off of it is the oil filter, the exhaust head, or, you know, manifold, which we're going to put a header on here. We're going to do some custom paint. I mean, we're going to really make this thing look like a full-blown race motor. We're going to actually paint more parts on this engine than we ever have before. Going to be a lot of chrome and performance red and maybe some anodized blue fittings, red and blue fittings. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm waiting for it. I'm going to enjoy my paint shop for a change. 'Cause normally the paint shop brings bad news, especially with that previous customer this week. Lord, have burnt $5,000 or $6,000 wasted in paint, because the customer wasn't specific on what they wanted. So that's okay. Jesus took care of us at the racetrack. We was reimbursed for everything, and we overall had a happy customer, even though they were playing a horrible trick on their son. So, but let's go ahead and get this thing back up, and we'll get finished tearing the car down. I don't even think we messed with the interior neither. We're gonna do a complete build with this car. I haven't decided what type of seats and stuff I want to go with. You know, this car was really famous from the first, not the very first Fast and the Furious that was made like back in the 70s, or I forgot when the first one was released, but the one in my era, my time, that was released around 2000, the year 2000. You know, that was that was a cool movie. I never will forget it. People were like racing their minivans in the parking lot leaving. It was crazy. Like after that movie dropped, everybody was cutting the exhaust off of their cars. Like you was hearing straight pipes all over Memphis. Uh, you know, the import world was taking off then. So, alright. We'll go ahead and get finished pulling down the rest of this car, and we'll move to the engine. And once we get the engine in here, then we'll put everything else in. And what I'll do is I'll fix all the stuff off camera. That way I'm not over there playing that little game, because I know y'all guys probably don't like playing it any more than I do. But, you know, it's part of it. You got to practice at it to get better. So, we're going to leave this arm into here where it at least stays up here and holds our drive. You know what? We would already have a drive axle transmission up underneath here holding this up. So, let's get this muffler out of the way. This thing's all up in the way. Fuel pump. It's already out. So, we'll drop the tank and clean it out. See if it even can be reused. I don't know. It may be past the point of no return. Get this removed. Come on. Alright. Thank you. That didn't take forever. Pull this out. Now, I don't know why it won't let me take these. Now, it wouldn't let me take this one off over here. Like I said, guys, we got a pretend transmission jack up underneath here. Hey, guys, that's more content you can add to the game. A transmission jack. If you were to undo this, this thing would fall on the floor right now. But, I guess I'm asking too much from a game. Maybe I am. I just know what it's like doing this work in real life, and maybe it's just not for a person with my knowledge. I still love playing the, you know, I still like playing the game though. It's still a fun game. It teaches kids, you know, the basic knowledge of everything, and I guess that's the important part. Everybody's got to have a starting point, so, you know, take it with a grain of salt, I guess. Alright, so we got our drive axle out. We are on our last pieces. We're undoing this catalytic converter, and that's it, guys. We got a full ghosted car besides the wiring harness and the fuse box. So I think we did replace our tail lights and stuff whenever we done this. I think all this stuff's new, and we are going to go with a custom license plate. We are not running those. We're going to run a Japan license plate because this car is from Japan. Uh, represent the rising sun, guys. Y'all had some good vehicles. Y'all had some vehicles that I absolutely cherished as a kid, growing up. I was always a fan of the David and the Goliath, the Undertaker. What was sought out to be, oh, that's a little small, weak car. It'll never be fast like our big block V8. And there is no telling how many of these vehicles I have watched wax Ferraris, $300,000 vehicles. It just makes you feel like you just got pooed on. Why did I spend $300,000 on a vehicle whenever I could have spent 10% of that and outrun it and had more comforts and drew more attention? It's just a waste, guys. You're paying for a name. There's no reason to even own a Ferrari. That's literally what it is for the rich to have a name. That is what Ferrari built his cars for. He wanted the wealthy people to have a car that spelt, I had money. But no intelligence of the racing world. That's what it spells. I have a lot of money, but I have zero intelligence of the performance world. uh, so, they pay to go fast. We build to go fast. We have the knowledge to go fast. And that's what matters in the end. So, but anyways, guys, I don't know. The inside looks pretty good. I think we did replace everything new. So I'm just going to leave it like it is. This is just a straight body. Let me see what the body condition is. Alright, so... Nope. It does need stuff to be fixed on it. It's not 100%, so we're gonna go ahead and strip down the body now, and we're just gonna replace everything with brand new stuff. Some things were new. If it's not new, I'll go ahead and order it, but the seats and stuff inside are not new, so yay, we get to choose our own seats and steering wheel. We know the wing is new, so we don't have to remove that. I think the trunk is new, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove it anyways. We're gonna pull everything on this car. We want nothing but a frame. And we've already got everything painted, so we don't even have to worry about that. I think we did. Yeah, we did pull out that window. So now we're gonna pull out the interior. I wish it was that easy to completely tear down a car. Man, it'd take a day just to pull all the interior out. And that's pulling apart is a lot easier than going back together, believe me. So, yeah, you can tell it's got some either it needs to be cleaned. Let's go ahead and get the forklift and move this into the cleaning bay, and we're gonna get the interior taken care of. Because I do see some stains all over this carpet, so let's see if we can get all that out of there. Yes, I do. Alright, so there we go. New carpet, everything's good, coveralled up. Remember guys, that coverall from O'Reilly's does wonders, so it can literally make an old dashboard in leather look just like this. Like, I absolutely love that product. Where is the fuse box? I know I saw it in here. ABS module. Okay. What is that? Is that the computer? No, it's the fuse box. Oh, it's up underneath the dashboard. Okay, so they did like a real vehicle did. That's cool. Alright. Pull all that out of there. Man, you never would have found this fuse box looking for it on the regular. So, because they've always been up underneath the hood. There must be a fuse or something in here I'm missing. Because it will not let me take this box out of here. Well, where is it? Now this is ridiculous. You can't get the camera in the spot to get the fuses out of here. Yeah, they made this a pain in the behind here. You would never be able to get that out of here. It won't let you get the angle of the camera down. So bad flaw, guys. This is not good work. I understand it's hard to get the stuff up underneath the dashboard, but if you lay upside down, you can look right up underneath here. Camera angle should be wherever you can get your head. Alright, so we got everything taken down now. This car is just bare frame, so let's go ahead. We're going to move it to rack 1 this time instead of rack 2 since it's a weekend. We ain't got a customer car. But we normally identify our personal cars with rack 2 and then customer cars are for rack 1. So a way, you know, if somebody comes in and works on vehicles while we're not here, they know which ones are vehicles. But look at, man, this thing is looking good. Now let's see what the body is. So right fender, obviously I don't have it off. There we go. We gotta pull these fenders off. Alright, so now it's just straight body. The only thing it should bring up is just the body itself, which you can't find anything on it. So, right, where does it say about the body? Should say whether if it's 100% or not. You know what? We're just gonna make sure. Re-weld it, do it, just go ahead and do it. Whatever needed to be done, we got it out of the way. If there was welding needed to be done, it was just a time lapse done in the background. So we know for sure that the body is 100% good now. So now that we got our body strip, we've already got our rims. We got to build some struts. They're going to be some class A or shock A struts. So we know we're going to need that. I'm going to go ahead and build 2 of them. The rest of it in the back is just spring caps and springs, so it doesn't actually have double wishbone suspension in the back. So, but alright, here comes the grand finale. This is our starting 360 something horsepower motor, and it's completely stock. So we're going to pull this down. We're going to do a complete race build, and I hope we don't ruin the block, because if we ruin the block, we're going to lose that 363 horsepower, because I think everything is saved. Basically what the base engine is actually within the engine block itself. So let's go ahead and start pulling this engine down. I gotta pull your injectors, intake manifold. This is gonna be a full complete build, guys. All racing parts. So O'Reilly's is fixing to get the order put in today. And if you were looking at this car, let me pull some stuff off of here. I know y'all probably heard of crate engines. Crate engine is a fully assembled engine ready to go into a car. Like, all you got to do is drop it in, connect the wiring harness, connect hoses and stuff like that together. Is a pre-assembled motor. But if y'all have ever heard of a half block and a long block, I'm going to show you what a long block is, or an example of a long block. So, say you torch the engine in your Mitsubishi Eclipse or Honda Civic over the weekend racing. Alright, nope, that would stay on there. This would not be there. So, you get online, you're like, oh man, I need to get a long block or a half block. Say the top end, like from the, here, I'll just go ahead and show you. So, without all the accessories, it would come with spark plugs. You're not going to get a long block without spark plugs because they're not going to allow trash to get into there, but you probably still will have to replace these plugs. But if you order a long block offline, alright, so a long block is this. You see how it's just a straight block, like a rectangle. It ain't going to come with an intake. It's not going to come with your accessories or exhaust or ignition coils. It is just the long block, meaning uh, you know, your lower crankcase, a head, and you know, it's got all your timing gear and all that other stuff, but it does not have no accessories, no ignition, no intake, no exhaust, none of the components on the back like ignition coils or clutch or anything like that. It'll probably come with a flywheel. It will come with a flywheel or a flex plate if it's an automatic. But this is an example of a long block. Now, a lower end and an upper end. All right, so upper end is just the head up, is what it is. Now, it's not going to come with an intake manifold or an exhaust. The upper half of the motor is just the assembled head, you know, cams, valves, all that in there, cam gear. And then the lower end of the motor are a half block lower end is just going to be your block, pistons, crankshaft, all this stuff on the bottom, but no timing belt. So if you were going to break this down into a half block, you would have to do this. They would still put the, you know, the harmonic balancer on there. You wouldn't get an engine without that. Because they, you know, they have to keep something on this to keep the crankshaft from moving back and forth up against the thrust washers, which they don't even illustrate in this game. So, anyways, you probably wouldn't even have a water pump. But I know on the K series motors or the Honda motors, whenever you order a long block, you got the water pump with it. So, what we're going to do is we're going to pull off the upper part of the motor, the half block upper. So that's just going to be your head and valve train up. So go ahead and pull it apart. You got a few rusty bolts. Alright. So now you can see your camshaft. It's only got 2 big valves per cylinder, so they're kind of copying the V8 mentality here. Just 2 huge valves, you know, per cylinder. V8s, old school V8s, that was the reason why they made a lot of power, guys. And torque is because they had less moving parts. The less moving parts you have, you know, that's what is it, Newton's law? Where you have less objects in motion, it takes less power and energy to move the object. But I know I could be wrong. I'm not going to get into the scientific range of it. Just you know, common sense. If your engine is having to move less moving parts, less parts are rubbing up against metal surfaces, that means it takes a lot less power. That's the reason why these guys are building these single cam Honda motors and they're just killing it. But, you know, for the base horsepower, twin cams with VTEC was the best to go if you wanted the most entry level in horsepower with no mods. But if you wanted to build a race motor, the less parts you gotta buy, the less parts to break, the better off it is. So I'm a fan of the single cam Honda motors all the way, but I do like VTEC on them now. I ain't gonna go all the way down, but I mean, all VTEC is for a person that wants that aggressive cam and a stock motor without having to swap the cams out. You got best of both worlds. But if you got a single cam and you're building a race motor, you basically got VTEC all the time. That's all it is. Except for you don't have to worry about a VTEC solenoid, the pins, the extra rocker arms. Here's where the extra parts come into play. So less moving parts. So single cam, like Honda's F22 motor that they come out with, like during the like 90s through before the K series, it was the F series motor and the H series motor. F series was like the doo-doo of the engine. It was slow, but if you put the right parts in it, they were stronger than the H series. I mean, that was less moving parts. So you just had to have the right stuff, like the Like whenever I found the F22 A6 head and intake manifold with the dual plane runner and all that, like you could wake that engine up with just 50, like almost 50 extra horsepower just from that head, intake and exhaust, because you were able to flow more air. The faster you can get fuel in and out of the motor, and the more volume of air and fuel you can move in and out of the motor, is bigger the bang. Whenever you're looking at the cylinders, the bigger the cylinder is, the more air and fuel volume you can get into it. So that's more combustion. But there is a fact of that. If you make the cylinder too big, for an NA car, it's okay because you're not running up underneath boost. But for a boost, if you wanted to build a turbo motor, you would want the smallest, thickest block you could find, meaning less displacement. Like the cast iron 5.3 LS motors were the best ones to build for turbo, and they could handle it because the blocks were real thin, closed deck design. But if you were building an NA car, no boost, all motor, you wanted the biggest 6.2 liter or bigger cubic inch LS style motor to make the power, because you had the bigger cylinders, you had this, you had that. So boost, go for the small blocks, you know, solid. But all engine, you want the bigger displacement all the way, definitely. So let's go ahead and break down the bottom end of our motor. I know I'm probably going into a lot of stuff. The kids are like, oh my god, what is he talking about? Guys, you'll understand what I'm talking about later whenever you understand the mechanics of the motor. I was there at one point in time. I was like, oh my god, what are these people, like hearing my dad and my grandfather talk? I never knew what they were talking about. But once you kind of see what I'm talking about, it all starts clicking in your head. Oh, okay, I get it now. And I didn't even understand this stuff until I was out of high school. I mean, I still learn stuff even today. So you'll never stop learning. Nobody should criticize you on the knowledge that you have. The only reason why you should be criticized is for the knowledge you refuse to take. Okay, knowledge is good, and that's even knowledge is wisdom. I mean, you know, whenever you're asking for the wisdom of the Lord, He will give you the knowledge for it. And my wife always asks me, she goes, what is the difference between wisdom and knowledge? Knowledge is to know the right from wrong. Wisdom is the applied knowledge. You know, you apply what you learn. So, or is it backwards? Wisdom, yeah, wisdom is to know right from wrong. Knowledge is to apply the knowledge of knowing right from wrong in your life. Yep, I had them backwards, so I finally got that wrong for the first time. But I did correct myself, so you gotta give credit, guys. Let people correct themselves if they understand they're wrong. Don't be so judgmental. There's so much judgmental stuff going on in the world today. People don't need that no more. So, nobody's perfect. Alright. I've never heard of this. Like, these things are saturated in oil. I don't know why I'm having to use WD-40 on some main bearings right now. Alright, so we got our crankshaft out, and that is it. We are bare block. So let's go ahead and remove our bare block, and hopefully we did not just destroy this engine. And we're going to get over here, and guys, if y'all want to, y'all can skip through this part until I get done fixing all these parts. But this is the make or break area. This is fixing to tell you, am I fixing to make profit on this vehicle, or am I just going to barely break even with very little profit? So we're going to fix body parts. I'm normally pretty quick at doing this, but still, you know, you can skip it. It's going to be a few minutes of this, probably. I don't know. I may be able to get through it quick. So, but anyways, in your comment, guys, how was everybody's Christmas? I know this is the day after Christmas. Me and Jamie, it was a success, guys. Our ministry work made it to the homeless shelter. They were, man, they were so happy. I got up at like 3 o'clock this morning, and kind of did my Bible study for the day. Gave thanks to the Lord that I was even alive today. Uh, and I just stayed in prayer. Please, Lord, don't let me mess up today. I want to, do your will. I want these people to understand that there are people in the world. There's very little people in the world nowadays, but I am part of that few that actually care about people that are suffering, whether if it's their fault or not. People make mistakes, and other people should be there to help others as long as they're willing to try to help themselves. Don't let somebody play you. Do not let the lazy be like, oh, I just don't want to work, so I'll just let somebody else take care of me. No, I do not help people like that. But if they are, willing to try to make their life better, they realize their mistake and why they got in the place that they're at, then more than likely they're not going to repeat that mistake again. They're going to learn to steer clear of whatever got them there in the first place. But they still need somebody to help them, just like Jesus helped us. He is the role model of our life. If we try to do exactly like he did in everyday life, you wouldn't have nothing but people that liked you. And some people will hate you because they feel like, oh, well, they're just getting all the, oh, well, we all almost broke something, but, they feel like it's a challenge for attention. Look, my attention is not for myself. The only reason why I draw attention to myself is to help others. I have to get people's attention some way. And most of the time, it tells you the world will ignore you. You will be all alone. And then you see how he blesses you in your daily life because you're not going to have nobody to help you. Think about it. If you sit out there every day and everybody was just throwing money at you, oh yeah, I want to help you so you can help the homeless, then people will be like, oh, well, Jesus didn't help you in that. That was other people who helped you. But whenever I had literally 4 people to help me with this, and they had from Thanksgiving to Christmas to donate, I mean, the most we'll take from somebody is $20. We're not going to take more than $20. But $5, even $1, I mean, $1 goes a long way, guys. If I got $1 a day from one person, that's 30. But if you had 5 people that gave $1 a day, I mean, do the math on that. That's 5 times 30. 3, 6, 9, 12. What? Okay, $150 right there. That would have been so grateful to have, but I didn't have that. Not not very many people helped in that cause. So, it just sucks. I mean, it just really does. That's all I can say. Nobody wants to help each other. They only want to complain, and they drive by and they're like, oh, there's one of them homeless people that we're having to take care of. No ma'am, sorry, your taxes does not pay for a homeless person. If they are homeless, they have no way to get on any type of government assistance or anything to help them. And there are people out there that ultimately abuse that program, and I cannot stand those people. And it is, and I swear, if I hear, oh, well, he's being racist, first of all, if you think I'm being racist, you're already pulling your own race card because everybody abuses that nowadays. It's not just one minority. So if you're already feeling in some kind of way, you are probably part of the minority that abuses that system. It's always the first person that opens their mouth is the one that's doing the wrong whenever they feel judged. Kind of feel kind of guilty right now? You want to open up your mouth? Please do it. Just do it. Go ahead and hang yourself. That's what you do. That's it. So, not really hang yourself, but you admit your wrongdoings by being the first one to be offended by it, because if you wasn't doing it, why would you be offended by it? So, anyways, it's kind of like whoever farts in the room first, they're normally the first one to blame somebody else for it. So, such as the people that complain, oh, we don't get enough money. working at McDonald's, oh, we should get a bigger check for doing nothing when we're already getting everything else handed to us. Why do you feel that you need $20 an hour whenever your food is being paid for, you're getting welfare, you're getting all this other stuff? Where is this money going to? It's not going towards the cause. The classes that are suffering are the middle class and the upper class. The upper class don't give a crap because they got enough money. They just get mad because they got to come off of their wealth. But the class that suffers the most, and I was part of it whenever I was a welder, and that is middle class. The rich rob from the middle class because they're the only ones working, putting into the system, because the lower class don't have any money to rob from because they're the one pillaging the system because they think everything should be handed to them on a silver platter and they don't need to work. It says in the Bible, you will work by the sweat of your brow. You will only gain from what you work for. If you are lazy, that's the reason why I don't like this system. Our whole government system is corrupt, and if we don't change it, modern day, slavery is coming back, and it's not going to be one minority. It's going to be all of us to the government. That's all I can sit there and say. I bet you kids are like, "Oh my God, what is this? What is this talking about? What is he talking about?" Well, whenever y'all get older, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. So pay attention to it early and prepare yourself. You know, that way you're not the one suffering later on. Of course, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some parents that are going to be like, oh, this guy don't know what he's talking about. The government is the best thing. They need to take over because people make wrong decisions. Okay, yeah, I agree with you there. There are some dumb people in the world that the government needs to watch. But who hasn't made a mistake? That doesn't mean that all of our free will and rights should be taken away from us and we are slaves to a machine. AI is taking over. Look at how many people have done lost jobs because of AI. It's horrible. A computer should not replace a human body. But that's sad whenever most of your human bodies don't want to work, they replace you with machinery that does work. That can work circles around you. It just may fail a lot more. But I don't know. Sometimes I think some robots would work better than some of them clowns at these fast food restaurants that are just, oh, I'm just here for my paycheck. What is work? You know who I'm talking about. If you're feeling offended, maybe you need to look into your, outlook on life. Maybe you need some adjust some things because I know what I do. I'm on disability, barely making it by. I used to work for my living until I couldn't no more. I am very grateful for what I have, and I return it to the people in need whenever I don't hardly have nothing. So, alright, so back to cars now. So, we got our engine block done. That was only supposed to last while I was doing the breakdown of parts, but sometimes I get carried away because it's the truth. But, anyways, we was able to machine our block, so let's go ahead and get it on there. We was able to, remachine our crankshaft. We actually already had a whole nother crankshaft we could have used. I think we got some main bearings too. Yep, look at there. Boy, we see all them parts that we ordered from O'Reilly's. We ain't even had to call them up yet today. I bet you they are happy. It's a Saturday. I try not to mess with them guys on a Saturday though. They're all ready to come up there, forced to work on the weekend. That should be your time of rest. Your beginning of your week should start on a Sunday. Sunday should be the huddling ground for what you should be doing out in the world, helping people. That's where Sundays is. Saturday should be your day of rest. I mean, that's the way I look at it. But, there's other people that can't do that because there needs to be doctors on Saturdays. You can move your Sabbath day any day of the week. I mean, that's your choice. Nobody else's but yours. And, whoever makes your work schedule, too. But somebody's got to do it. I understand it. I used to work a lot of Saturdays. Alright, so now we're going to have to order our performance and piston connecting rods. So let's open up our rally menus. Let's clear our exhaust, our shopping list. That way we can start working on this engine. We are going to we're going to go ahead and order a set of performance pistons. We're going to order a performance alternator, performance power steering pump. Was we able to rebuild the water pump? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and throw it into there. Put some of that wonderful import gray or Honda Bond, whatever you want to call it. We are going to be running a high flow fuel pump because this is going to be a NA motor build, so all engine, no turbo, no boost. I wish they had nitrous in this game so bad, so I can explain how wet versus dry nitrous system works and direct port, and gosh man, they can add so much stuff to this game and it would be great. Or better, I should say. The game's already good, but alright, so we got our parts ordered on our first order. So let's go ahead and open up the menu, and look at there, my camera's letting me know that it's supposed to go dead in 5 minutes. So, alright, recap. We was able to fix most of our engine parts. We got our O'Reilly's list made together for the beginning of our performance add-ons to this vehicle, because I am so excited to see what we can get out of a NA build on a full race motor, on a single cam full race motor, non-turbo, all-wheel drive Mitsubishi Eclipse. We did get our frame welded, so everything's 100%. So in the next, after our lunch break, we're going to be assembling our motor. We're going to be working on interior, and I'm hoping we can get this car finished. We may come up here on a Sunday, and you know, after me and Jamie get out of church, you know, our weekend huddle, if we are not helping people after we get out of the huddle, you know, where you learn and you make decisions to apply to your life and go out and do them. But anyways, we're gonna get back to it after this, after we go grab a bite to eat today, and we're gonna continue building our race car. So guys, you know, I kind of got on a little bit of a rant in this one. Sorry, I'm going to try to keep that to a minimum. But whenever I see that so many people could help others out in the world and they just choose not to, I just wonder why. It's no wonder why people are hurting in the world today. But anyways, guys, we're going to go grab some lunch. We're going to put in that order for all of our performance parts for this engine build. And that way we got them. That way we're just throwing this motor together. So anyways, guys, we'll catch you after lunch. Y'all be safe and have a blessed day. Bye.